cool flash. Do that again. Hold your horns, here comes Spyro. slide. You gotta believe. I'm out of here.